Happy Monday, everybody. Last night I was sitting on the couch and the thought that came to mind was it's okay to want more. And this is something that really struck a chord with me, something that seemed important to explore. I know I've talked about this before. So as a child, I figured out pretty early that it was easier to kind of go along and show up how I thought others expected me to. In my home, there was really no question about it. You went to school, you got good grades, did all your homework, you went to college. There was no negotiation around that. And then, like everybody kind of is raised to believe, the next step, you meet someone, you get married, you buy a house with a white picket fence, you may or may not get a dog and then a child, and you go on from there. The job you get has to be full-time, you need to have good benefits, you can't go without health insurance, those kinds of things. So that is how I showed up in the world. I never honestly stopped to think about any other options. I never really allowed myself to think in any other way. So I've gotten myself into this role of a nurse, where you have to work full time to get the benefits and all that stuff. So this also showed up in my relationships. I have gotten myself into codependent situations at times, deferring to my boyfriend, partner, whatever. Like, they would ask me, what do you want for dinner? Oh, I don't know, what do you want? Because I was afraid to voice my opinion on even the smallest consideration. So I went through a lot of my life pretty miserable. It isn't the case now, but I remember waking up. My commute was about 45 minutes a lot of my career, and I would wake up super, super early to get to work by 6:45. My alarm would go off and I'd think, ugh, not again. And honestly, I, in my mind, would be like, oh, only 3 more days until I get to sleep in. And just nothing about my life was the way I had imagined it when I was a child. When I was a kid, I used to dream about being a rock star, which is kind of silly, but kids don't understand the limitations of the world and the things that we put pressure on ourselves to do in this world. So I spent a lot of years being very unhappy with my situation. My job, my relationship was not great. I didn't spend a lot of time considering the things that I wanted, the things that I thought would make me happy. And if someone invited me out to do something, I was always like, I don't know, let me check with boyfriend, husband, partner at the time, whatever. So even those decisions I took out of my own hands and put into the hands of someone else. So for a long time, I thought that's kind of the way that life was supposed to be. And people sometimes would look at me funny when I would say, I have to check with so-and-so first. Like, it's not normal to have to check with your partner before you decide whether you want to do something with a friend or not. So anyway, I remember, boy, I don't know how long it's been, but at a certain point in my life, I realized what I was doing wasn't it. It wasn't a sustainable way of living for me if I was going to be happy in this life. And I remember at a certain point saying, there's got to be more to life than this. And at that point, it was in regard to my nursing career. And, my friends and I would dream about the day that we would open our own shop or store where we could make baked goods. I really love to bake. And crafts and Reiki and crystals and tarot readings and all the things. We used to dream about it, and I remember at one point, this friend of ours who was kind of new to the group said, I've been listening to you guys talk about this for 3 years. Like, when are you actually going to sit down and do it? And we just kind of laughed and went on. But it's taken a lot for me to get to the point where I actually allow myself to dream of a better life. I have, followed my intuition and made difficult decisions to invest in myself at certain points in my life. And oftentimes it's when grief strikes. After my dog passed away, I began to sort of dream of a better way forward. I'm not sure why it was related, but I guess I was just so miserable. I started to kind of think about my life as a whole and realize like things weren't going as well. It's hard though. I wanted a better life, but I had no way of getting it in my mind, at least. I thought that the universe was just going to shower me with opportunities that were right for me, and kind of had blind faith that that is what was going to happen. Turns out that's not what happened. But again, I went back, like I can't even tell you how many jobs I quit because I was so fed up with what I was doing and frustrated and miserable. And I'd leave these jobs with absolutely no plan. I would just sit at home, kind of hoping an opportunity would fall out of the sky, which isn't what happened, of course, because I wasn't doing any work on myself to help my mind and body calm and feel safe. And then I'd run out of money and have to return to another crappy nursing job. So in a way, I kind of sabotaged myself. But I'm also giving myself some grace because I didn't know better back then. But like I said before, when my father passed away, that was the catalyst for me to say yes to coaching. And that is what's really changed my life. It's led me down a path that have opened opportunities and doors for me that I never could have imagined. I'm no longer afraid to say yes to opportunities that are presented to me. I feel like even if I had been presented some of these opportunities like 5 years ago, I would have been too afraid to say yes. Fearing, I think a lot of it was fear of leaving people behind, if that makes sense. I thought that if I chose myself over my partner, we would reach that ultimatum point where I was choosing myself over our relationship and him. But what I've come to realize as I've invested in myself and done the work and grown and blossomed and am strong in my convictions and learning who I am and who I am not, my boyfriend has been my number one cheerleader, super supportive. He has actually been cheering me on from the sidelines, wanting a better life for me in his own way. So now that he's seen my growth, he's 100% supporting me all the way. And it's actually encouraging him to want better for himself and his career. So it's just beautiful to see. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is there's no limit to what you can achieve. You just need to be persistent and believe in yourself. And also super important to kind of tune into your body. And we know, our intuition knows when we have an opportunity that comes across our path, whether it's right for us or not. And even if it's not and you choose to take it, you'll still be okay. You can quit that job. You can make the money back. Like, the possibilities are unlimited for us. So please don't hold yourself back waiting for someday. Know that it's okay to want more. There is more out there if you're willing, and life can be amazing if you choose yourself. I hope this has helped. Let me know what you think. Tell me where you're reaching for more in this year of the fire horse. I'd love to hear what you guys are up to and what you're bringing into the world. So I'll talk to you soon.